The NFL is about to hate what the Bills are about to do. After a massive performance on the road in Pittsburgh, this might have been the spark the Bills needed. So let's talk about it all right here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Bills Digest. I'm your host, Anthony Senicar, and we are way past the halfway point of the Bills season, but there's only one issue. 73% of you guys who are watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. Subscribe, join the army here at Bills Digest to stay in touch with all your latest Bills news, because we got you guys covered from wall to wall. And like I said, guys, the NFL is about to hate what the Bills are about to do. After this big performance in Pittsburgh, where the Bills started slow in the first half, looked like the same, very much the same of what we saw last week in Houston, as well as in Miami. It looked like it was going to be another slugfest against a team that the Bills should not be in a slugfest with. But the Bills were able to turn it around in the second half and put up a dominant second half performance against this Pittsburgh Steelers team and kind of just control the time of possession in an abnormal way. They had double the time of possession the Pittsburgh Steelers had. They had 200 more yards on the ground than the Pittsburgh Steelers had a historical performance against the Pittsburgh Steelers, putting up the most rushing yards since the 70s against the Steelers franchise. The passing game was all not there, but the first downs, 26-10, the rushing yards, the time of possession, this was a pivotal game for the Bills, and they came out to play in that second half. They dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense, but they also dominated the Pittsburgh Steelers on the defensive side of the ball. And the defensive side of the ball was what jump-started this Bills kind of execution in the second half, with the massive sack fumble from Joey Bosa that led to Christian Benford picking it up and running it in for a touchdown to get the Bills up early in that second half, and it snowballed from that point forward, injuring Aaron Rodgers on the play, gets a bloody nose, does come back later in the game, but Mason Rudolph comes in, throws the ball the next drive, and throws an easy interception to Christian Benford in what is arguably Christian Benford's best game as a pro. 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, and 1 touchdown. Obviously, Benford signed the massive contract extension earlier this offseason, and he has arguably not played up to the standard that he has for the past few years. And the reason why he got that contract, as he was playing like a true number 1 corner. The Bills have had issues in the secondary. Taylor Rapp obviously playing injured, now out for the season. Cole Bishop has had his ups and downs. The Bills couldn't really solidify a number 2 corner after first-round pick Maxwell Hairston injured himself in training camp, only came back the last few weeks. Trey White has obviously lost a step after recovering from 2 major leg injuries, and Benford obviously has had a down year, but all of that changed this past weekend against Pittsburgh. Christian Benford was playing like a true number 1 corner. In the Sean McDermott system, it is very rarely that a cornerback shadows against another team's number 1 receiver. Well, speaking to Sal Capaccio after the game, Benford said that he was shadowing star number 1 receiver of the Pittsburgh Steelers, DK Metcalf, for the whole game, allowing 3 receptions of 32 yards on only 5 targets. Benford locked up DK Metcalf the whole time, and this might be a telling sign of what the Bills want to do going forward with Christian Benford. Treat him like a number 1 true corner and have him go up against the number 1 receiver of all of the next opposing teams, because there are some very good receivers coming into town. Obviously, you got Jamar Chase next week against the Cincinnati Bengals. You got the New England Patriots and Stephon Diggs. You have the Philadelphia Eagles and A.J. Brown coming up. You're going to have matchups in the playoffs when we get there with Cortland Sutton and the Denver Broncos. Obviously, Diggs and the Patriots, like I expressed earlier. Rashid Rice and the Kansas City Chiefs if they get in there. Indianapolis Colts and Michael Pittman. Again, if you are able to take out the number one option from the other opposing offenses going forward with Christian Benford, that is going to be a pivotal part of what can help get this Bills defense playing to this standard week in and week out. With Maxwell Hairston kind of slowly developing into what looks like a very good cornerback 2. You bump Trey White to that cornerback 3 position where I think he will truly thrive. Put him in situational instances where you need him. This could put the Bills secondary going from a bottom tier secondary up very, very high with a true lockdown number 1 in Christian Benford, a rotational piece in Trey White, an up-and-coming stud, Maxwell Hairston, who, again, had a combine record 40 times, so can keep up with the best of those speed receivers. Cole Bishop developing into a top 5 safety. Jordan Poyer and Jordan Hancock rotating. This could turn into a very good defensive unit for the Bills very quickly if this secondary plays up to the standard week in and week out, and they continue to build on performances like this. And Sean McDermott says, CB, you are going to be covering the number 1 corner week in and week out and take them away out of the game plan completely. I'm very excited to see how that ends up for the Bills, because that could be a reason why the Bills turn into a good defensive unit going into January and February. On top of that, in another defensive performance or position where the Bills have been struggling has been at linebacker. Terrell Bernard has been playing injured, is out, and Shaq Thompson came in and stepped up and had a major performance, and arguably the best performance next to Christian Benford on the defensive side of the ball. He was the highest graded PFF player with an 86.8. And it is getting to the point now where you cannot take Shaq Thompson off the field. Terrell Bernard has obviously noticeably been playing slower, been playing hurt. The Bills have been trying to get him in when they can, but he has been out of position. He obviously struggles against the run, but we accepted that because he was elite against the pass. But now losing a step and playing injured, he has been out of position numerous times. Shaq Thompson has been a spark, a jolt to this Bills defense, and he has absolutely transformed the Bills' run defense, and it was noticeable on the tape. Shaq Thompson has made a noticeable difference for the Bills versus the run. His combination of size, movement, processing, and skill set allow him to beat blockers to spots and gum up runs constantly. His trigger, diagnostic, and his ability to get off blocks has been a breath of fresh air. And it is noticeable on tape. It is noticeable watching the game. He kind of brought up the play of Matt Milano too. Milano had one of his better games this season as a Bill as well. And I think we are getting to the point now, you let TB recover for as long as he needs. Don't rush him back. Have Shaq play this role because he has done a phenomenal job so far in his short stints so far this season. Head coach Sean McDermott even agreed, saying Shaq did a solid job of leading the defense at middle linebacker. Also said that Shaq stood up in the team meeting late in the week and challenged the defensive unit to perform at their best, said that's what leadership looks like. Obviously, the message got sent to the defense because they came out in that game and had their arguably best defensive performance since the Carolina game weeks and weeks ago. Christian Benford had the best game of his career. The linebacker core looked refreshed, revitalized, rejuvenated with Shaq Thompson there calling the plays. They ran 2 gaps and stopped this Pittsburgh run attack the whole time. Again, last week against Houston, they had their best rushing attack of the whole season. It looked like it might have happened again this week against Pittsburgh. Did not. The defensive line and the linebackers looked like they were on the same page, getting to gaps quickly and allowing the Bills to stop the run when it was needed. I always say history repeats itself. In 2021, the Bills were in a skid as well. Had a major loss to the Philadelphia Eagles in overtime. Had that loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime. Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime. And we always look back at moments where the Bills turned it on and kind of stacked up wins after that. For me, that Tampa Bay loss, in that second half, they came back, they stormed back, did lose to Brady in overtime, but still, after that point, the Bills went on a win streak and had, obviously, that 21-second game that obviously was not the outcome they wanted, but that was some of the best Bills football. The Bills were also chasing the New England Patriots for the AFC East in that same season. We're seeing a lot of the same kind of ideas popping up here in this 2025 season. Now, I'm not saying, hey, magically the Bills are going to go on they might go on a hot streak, but it doesn't mean they're going to catch up to the New England Patriots. This Monday night game is pivotal for the Bills to see what if the Patriots can kind of have a chink in their armor against the Giants, get a loss, and bring the Bills within one to try and get that AFC East on a straight tie so far with New England. This will be pivotal for the Bills. This will be pivotal for the New England Patriots, and this game is going to be a tipping point of the season to see if the Bills will be fighting for a wild card spot for the rest of the season, or if it's going to be game on come tomorrow morning. But let me know your thoughts below, guys. What do you guys think of this defensive performance? Do you guys think this is the performance the Bills needed to continue to stack up good to elite defensive performances from now until February? Are you guys excited to see Christian Benford kind of shadow receiver number ones going forward for the rest of the season? What are your thoughts on the Shaq Thompson versus Terrell Bernard debate? Let me know down below in the comments. As well, if you're not subscribed, subscribe down below. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Every little bit helps, and we all appreciate here at Bills Digest. On top of that, like I always say, guys, subscribe, stay in touch, stay informed, and go Bills.